getting back on track with this, I want to address the false narrative that everybody is throwing out there about this Georgia football team. I've seen it time after time after time, and I've had enough. You, and when I say you, I'm talking about Ohio State, are soft, and Georgia is going to expose that like Michigan did. And for that reason right there, I got Georgia winning this one 35-20, and it's not going to be one of those close 35-20 games. There's just so many factors that are going against Michigan in this game. I cannot pick them to win, and that's why I got TCU pulling off the big-time upset. TCU will win this game. I think it's going to be close, but they're going to pull it out by 7 points. I'm 2 for 2. I am 2 for 2. I already know what y'all run to the comments to say, well, Matt, you might have gotten the past 2 games right in the college football playoff, but outside this playoff, your predictions have been terrible this season. And I agree. Actually, saying my predictions this season were terrible, that'd be an understatement. That'd be a compliment. I'd take it. I think a better way to put it is, it's been laughable. And y'all think y'all are slick. Don't act like I don't see what y'all are saying every time I pick a certain team. Say Michigan and Ohio State are playing, and I pick Ohio State. Ohio State fans like, oh crap, Matt picked us, now we're going to lose. I see those comments. Regardless of all that, and regardless of all my terrible takes and predictions this season, I've been right about one team, and that's TCU. I made a video about 4, 5, 6 weeks ago around that time frame titled, Here's My Problem with TCU Football, and in that video, I talked about how I had a problem with everyone labeling them as frauds, and I thought they're legit and the real deal. What was the argument heading into the playoff discussion? Well, is TCU really better than Bama? Would they beat Tennessee or Ohio State? Probably not, but they deserve to be in. That's the word that everybody used. TCU, they're not one of the best 4 teams in the country, but they deserve to be in. But my counter argument to that was always, hey, maybe you need to look past the name TCU and look at the football team as a whole, because these guys are really good. And well, here we are, fast forward in time to our current day. TCU, the team I tried telling you guys is legit, they're in the championship game. I wish I could say I'm shocked by this, but I am not whatsoever. I even predicted them to beat Michigan, as I showed you in the intro. In tonight's video, though, we're not here to talk so much about TCU. We're here to talk about who they play, and that's Georgia. The reason for that is fairly simple, and it's the main reason I'm even making this video. There is currently this huge false narrative being thrown out about this Georgia football team. And not only do I not like it a single bit, but I strongly disagree with it. We've got a lot to talk about. It's going to be a jam-packed video. Get you a snack, get you popcorn, get you a favorite meal you like to eat when you watch a video. It's going to be a good one. And yeah, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. All right, blah, blah, blah. Shut the crap up. Now, without further ado, Matt, let's get into it. All right, look, I don't got time to waste. You don't got time to waste. I'm just getting straight into the main topic of the main encore, the main reason you're here. Typically, 98, 99.4% of the time, whenever you have this David versus Goliath type of matchup, the narrative being thrown around is, okay, well, Georgia's being told how great they are. They may walk into this game snoozing, and TCU's going to catch them sleeping. Because what's going on in the media, and the players aren't dumb, they hear everybody saying, oh, Georgia's going to crush TCU, TCU doesn't stand a chance, and blah, 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 blah. You know how it goes. If you don't want to take my word for it, take a look at it for yourself. In a national championship game, Georgia is a 12.5-point favorite. I can't remember the last time someone in a championship game was favored more than 8 or 9 points. Nobody, and I mean absolutely not a single soul out there that is taking it serious when you ask him this question is picking TCU to pull off the upset. The TCU players know it, the coaching staff know it, and same thing for Georgia. Georgia is a hands-down favorite to win this game. Most people are going to try to argue and say TCU's a better offensive team than Georgia, but I disagree. I think they're even. The first thing people think of when they hear Georgia's offense is Stetson DoorDash Bennett. He holds them back. That was the case last year. This year, Stetson Bennett, he's played really well. We like to crack jokes about him here and there, but you got to give the dude his credit and respect. In all of the biggest games this year for Georgia, that's when DoorDash Bennett has played his best. So just going off of what I've seen this year and what I saw him do in the championship last year against Alabama, why wouldn't I expect DoorDash Bennett to have a good game? If you do want to go by analytics, technically TCU's offense is slightly better because they're averaging 41.1 points per game and Georgia is only averaging 39.4. But here's the kicker to it. Georgia has the best defense in the country. They're only allowing 12.8 points per game and TCU is allowing 25. That's your difference maker in the game. TCU's defense maybe average at best, but Georgia defense best in the country. It goes without being said the X factor in this game is going to be if TCU can keep up with Georgia's offense. Can TCU score on Georgia's defense? Because we know Georgia, they're going to put up points. I think it's going to be the same storyline heading into the game as it was for Ohio State and Georgia. Ohio State's defense is trash. Everyone knew they weren't going to be able to stop Georgia. So therefore, the only way Ohio State has a chance is if they score 35 to 40 points. I think that's the same case here. The only way TCU has a chance, and this is just a chance not to win it, you got to score at minimum 38 points. And even at that, if you score 38, Georgia might hang 50. Like I said though, it's 1A, 1B when it comes to the offenses. TCU averaging 475 yards per game, Georgia 495. Here's the thing. On paper, Georgia's supposed to win this game. They got better players, they got more 4- and 5-star recruits, they're bigger, stronger, faster. Every aspect of the game, on paper at least, it's pointing towards Georgia winning this game by at least 10 points. But, and I have a big but, that's why we played the game. I mean, yeah, it's cool to preview these games and look at all the stats and numbers, but there's a reason we actually played the game. If you looked on paper heading into the season, Texas A&M was a top 5 team, and yeah, we saw how that went. And I can't remember who this was. I can't even find the notification, but you knew who you are. I remember seeing this on a video about 5 or 6 days ago. I've heard this before, but whoever said it, they just reminded me of it. In college football in the NFL, the best team doesn't always win a championship that season. Because the way it's set up, it's single elimination. So sometimes the best team in college football or NFL, they can get upset. To make a long story short, in college football, you're more so of crowning a champion, not the best team, and I hope that makes sense. On the flip side of things, and I wish college football could be this way, but obviously it can't, in the NBA, that's actually where your best team is always going to win. Because in the NBA, you're playing a 7-game series. So even if the best team in the series has a bad game or there's a fluky upset, they can still come back. There's no excuses. You're playing in a 7-game series. The best team will always win a championship. However, in college football, all it takes is for Ohio State to slip up one time, for Michigan to slip up one time, and they're out of the tournament. And it's the same concept with college basketball. I think that's a very interesting point in perspective. Getting back on track with this, I want to address the false narrative that everybody is throwing out there about this Georgia football team. I've seen it time after time after time, and I've had enough. What is that false narrative, you may ask? It is this perception that, hey, Georgia, they're not going to be ready for this game. They're just going to cruise in there and think TCU is going to hand it to them. If you're expecting Georgia to expect TCU just to roll over and let them run all over them, you lost your mind. I would agree with that statement if this was a regular season game, but we're talking about the national championship. I know how Kirby Smart is. He's one of the best motivational speakers out there, and he's even telling his Georgia team they're being disrespected. And I'm not playing that's an actual thing. He is telling these Georgia players that they're not being taken seriously when they are. You know why? Because he doesn't want his players to walk in there sluggish, and they won't. This is the championship game. I don't care if Georgia's favored by 30 points. Kirby Smart is still going to have his guys ready to go. You better believe that. This isn't Mark Richt. This is Kirby Smart. He's never had his Georgia team go out there and lay an egg. Has Georgia had some bad games here and there? Yes, but they really never disappoint. It's relatively simple to me. Georgia's going to be ready to go, and this game is giving me Notre Dame and Alabama vibes. I'm not saying the outcome's going to be the same, but the way people are talking about it reminds me of Notre Dame and Alabama about 10 years ago. And let me put this on record right now. I would not be shocked if Georgia blew TCU out and won by 35 points. I wouldn't. It's not me trying to discredit TCU because they're a really good football team. I've told you guys this, but Georgia is simply that good. But as far as it goes with people thinking Georgia's not going to be ready to play in this game, I just think that is one of the worst takes you could ever have. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the championship game. This is what you practice for. This is what you work out for. This is what all these early mornings and late nights amount up to. This is why you get up at 5 a.m. every morning in the off season. This is what you grind for. This is it. So for all those people out there that's trying to tell you and trying to convince me that Georgia's not going to be quote unquote ready for the game, I don't even have anything to say. I'll leave it at this. I want to be calm. It's not good for me to scream. Not good for my health. I think that's a terrible take. As far as it goes for the game itself, I guess I might as well make my prediction. I got Georgia with 42, TCU 24. I'm sorry, TCU fans. I think you had a great season, and you're going to be competitive in this game, but Georgia, it's hard to pick against them. 42-24. Give me the Bulldogs. I'm very curious. Let me know your thoughts down below. But